Well, a very good morning from the beautiful pine forests in Glenfeshie. Not the upper reaches of the glen, I'm at the lower reaches, just near the airfield. That's where my walk has started, near the airstrip. So I'm not far from the road actually that goes to Kincraig. Today I'm heading up Sgor Gaoith. At the moment the jury is out as to whether there will be a view up top. I'm not really sure. I'm holding out hope. The forecast for this morning, for this part of the world, from the Met Office anyway, was for blazing sunshine, which clearly we haven't got. But the Mountain Weather Information Service said that any cloud there is, sort of the blanket of low cloud up there, is going to be fairly thin, fairly low. So hopefully, climbing higher will break through out of the cloud. The conventional, much plied route up Sgor Gaoith goes from the road end, as far as you can go on the public road, into Glenfeshie, which doesn't actually probe very deeply into the glen. It's quite a long glen, but the public road only takes you so far. That's the usual route of ascent. I've done that once, many years ago. The last time I did it, I came on the route that I'm reproducing today. That last time I was here, it was cold. My goodness, it was cold. It was February, I think it's 2010 maybe, February 2010. And today it's 4 degrees. When I got out of the car it was 4 degrees, but on that day it was a whopping 24 degrees colder than that. I think it was -18, -19 coming through Feshie Bridge. And then as I rolled up into the car park just opposite the airfield, the readout on the car, not the most accurate, but you know, that's all you have, plummeted down to -20. And it was snowy, it was cold, very still, clear, beautiful hoarfrost and everything. Probably the coldest weather I've walked in this country actually. And you don't really, part of you doesn't really want to get out of the car. But it's fine when you get out and it's -20. It's actually not that bad as long as there's not a biting wind sending the wind chill down to -30, 40 or something. It's actually all right. I mean, as somebody famous once said, I feel it in my fingers, I feel it in my toes. It's wet, wasn't it? You feel it in your extremities. As I was walking along here, I felt it in my extremities, but the cold, the deep cold like that only really sits down in the glens and the straths. And once you start climbing up here, it actually gets a bit warmer. And then the sun came up and I got out the forest, and then it was sort of still sub-zero, but nowhere near as bitingly cold. What a glorious day that was. And then as soon as I did get out the forest, it was snowshoes all the way up to the top. Stunning day that was. Right, well, almost at my turn. Oh, that's interesting. Look at this. Someone's trying to track or observe something or other. It's a camera trap in here. I wonder what they're looking for. This is Forestry Commission land, of course, and there's probably all kinds of work goes on in terms of conservation and tracking, monitoring deer, I suppose. Will be a big part of what goes on here. But there will be populations of other wonderful species in these forests. Wildcat, pine marten, things like that. Now I can hear the burn raging, but I honestly can't remember if it was easy to get over here or not. Ah, there's a bridge. Quick backtrack. Shouldn't actually be too much of a problem getting over anything, over burns and things, because it has been freakishly dry. There was provisional figures out from the Met Office just this week about how little rain there has been so far. You'd expect mid-month, you'd expect 50% of the rainfall to have fallen, but everywhere is showing a deficit, apart from the very far north of Scotland. I've said before about how just wonderfully welcoming and friendly these these pine woodlands are. Very attractive forests. Again, in complete contrast to the regimented plantations that adorn many a hillside, many an upland area across the UK. Just a much nicer place to spend your time. And in fact, it looks very similar in winter as it does in summer. Most things are coniferous, of course, evergreen, and are retaining their greenery, things like heather and the Scots pine, all those things. So you still feel like you've got cover, even in winter. Of course, I have no recollection whatsoever of it being like this on my last visit, because it was minus 20. Had been cold for a very long time by that point. All of this was frozen and underneath snow. That's the great thing about winter, isn't it? Well, should be the great thing about winter. Bogs freeze over, mud freezes. And in summer, all this brushing against vegetation in a woodland would make me naturally nervous about what I might pick up. Ticks, of course. And I would not be surprised, given how mild it is, I would not be surprised if there was something sitting there, some horrid little thing with its pincers ready to grab onto anything walking past. It has been cold, but not for a prolonged period of time. And ticks are generally active in quite low, just single-digit temperatures. Actually, it takes quite a bit to completely pacify them. So I will have a comprehensive inspection when I get home, just in case. Right, approaching the moment of truth in the next half hour or so, probably, with the coming up into the clag now, into the cloud. Just hoping that we're going to push through to something on the other side, rather than have it all the way up. Oh, this looks like another camera trap. Yep. I don't know for a fact what species are in these forests. Certainly the ones up Rothiemurcus. You'll have pine marten, you'll have wildcat, you'll have capercaillie, which I've never seen a live one, never heard a live one. But I was going through Glenmore Forest actually, which sort of goes towards Abernethy, and was going cross country off paths foolishly in summer, and I did get ticks. But it did mean that I came across a dead capercaillie, and it's the only one I've ever seen close up. Just can't get over how big they are. Enormous, great big grouse. Sad to see, but interesting nonetheless. Seeing dead animals, often it's the only time you actually get close to seeing elusive animals. Things like moles, badgers, pine marten. Usually it's dead ones at the road that they're the only ones you often never get to see. In that case though, when there was no obvious sign of trauma or illness that I could see, but I'm not an expert, so I did report it actually to somebody and gave them the coordinates. I'd like to think that they came up and had a look. Well, we're well in it now, and I am quietly confident that at some point it'll break through. But I suppose the problem is, because it's not an ascent that takes you directly upwards, it's a slow, gradual ascent along the ridge. It might be a while before I poke through. God, it's warm. Well, it's cool, but it's more like a spring day. I did check the last information this morning from the weather station atop Cairngorms. I think it was 4:45 the last temperature reading it took. There was no wind, zero, absolutely calm, and it was 6.4 degrees. It's crazy. Even for a mild winter, that's quite strange. Especially when it's so calm. Usually when it's mild, it's wet and windy. Very unusual. Down south coast of England this morning, -6, and yet at the top of Cairngorm, 6 degrees. But that does happily tend to suggest an inversion layer, warmer up top than it is down below, which hopefully means no cloud. What do you think? Getting brighter? There is blue sky, and the sun is almost a disc rather than just a vague white light. Oh, please, 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 please. Oh, look, first snow. Must just make my mark. I am almost casting a shadow now. It's so difficult to resist the temptation to just power ahead. No, nice and calm. My knee's much better, but it's not perfect. Nice and calm. Patience. Oh, and look. You see that? There is something poking out the cloud. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I haven't had one of these for a long time. This is a big deal actually, even just having sunshine, because with the high pressure that's been stuck over us for the longest while, it's been so gloomy. It's been benign, calm, still, dry, but gloomy. And it's just been this low sheet of cloud over much of Scotland. So this is quite a moment. My first sun in a week. Look at this. Oh look, the much vaunted fog bow that everyone's been bleating on about since somebody put a photo of one up this winter. Yeah, somebody posted a photo of a really beautiful photo of a fog bow over Rannoch Moor this winter, and the BBC shared it, and it was as if everyone went nuts. Hashtag fog bow all over Twitter. Everyone went mad thinking it was this rare, infrequent phenomenon, which I suppose it is if you don't go to the hills much. Very beautiful though. Anyway, I don't seem to be getting out of this clag. Oh my goodness, what it's like, just like emerging into heaven. It's, oh, don't know what to say really. Is that not wonderful? Wow. Right, well I'm instantly, not that I'm complaining, too hot. So I'm going to have to take a layer off. Well, it's hard to tear myself away really. As soon as I emerged from the cloud, I was quite happy just sitting there. Unless you've experienced this, it's quite hard to convey not just how awesome and incredible it is to actually see, but the sensation as well. It's cold down there. It's cold here, but obviously the sun's warm. And as you emerge from the cloud, it gets warmer so much. I mean, it quickly gets warm, almost hot. And it's a really rapid transition. And if the cloud level is fluctuating, then you get moments where you get engulfed in even very, very thin mist, like I was down there, and you get cold again, and you get this funny sort of hot, cold borderline just from standing in one position. Extreme swings in temperature. But now I've climbed a bit higher, and we're definitely out of the cloud. And now it's amazing. The clarity is just something else. It's funny actually, I mean usually my sense of direction and knowing what hills are in relation to other things is usually really, really good. But because I can't actually see the straths, I can't see landmarks, I'm not entirely sure which hills these are over there. I think, is that Craig Meggie over there? Or is, see what, I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. Or maybe that, maybe over there, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure what I'm looking at over here. So it's almost a shame now that I mean it's wonderful to be out in the sunshine, but once you actually get up here, it's almost a shame because you're leaving the immediate, you know, you're not actually close to the cloud anymore. You haven't got that sense that you're right above it, because now we're getting high up onto a plateau. And it's not quite the same feeling of being above the clouds, but once you get to the top of Sgor Gaoith, then I'm sure it'll be a different matter. Anyway, here we are, on top of the world. And now that we're up here, you see just what a peculiar winter it's been. The last vlog I did was up on Stobbinnen, and there had been quite a bit of snow. It was the end of November, and I was being quite optimistic about the prospects for it staying, if not really cold, then at least cool enough to start making a base that the snow could actually accumulate and form a base. And that just hasn't happened. First week in December came through, cold, and then it just went very, very mild. Another very mild Christmas. And whereas it was also quite cool, the nights haven't been that cold, but also it's been really dry. December was very dry because we've had just been plagued, it sounds awful to say it, but plagued by high pressure. And then normally that would be a blessed relief from our typical winters, like last year when we just had endless low pressure systems dumping all that rain, all those storms. You don't want that. It's nice to have a break from that. So high pressure is good in that sense, it keeps you dry. But at this time of the year it means no precipitation's fallen, nothing's fallen on the hills. Had a couple of snowy episodes, but it's middle of January, getting towards the end of January, and the ski resorts, apart from a few days here and there, still aren't open in any meaningful way. So it's very bad for them. There's no prospect of anything else arriving anytime soon. It's very strange. We've gone from one extreme to the other last year to this year. So who knows? It could be like 2011, 2012, that winter, when it was really poor for snow in the lowlands, and it wasn't great for snow in the highlands. And then by the end of February, all the ski resorts were shut because there was no snow. And then March came and we had the 24, 25 degrees in Aberdeenshire in March, record breaking. And we thought that was it. The end of winter, hot spring. And then what happened? The week later, 0 degrees across the central belt, and a metre of snow fell in the Cairngorms in end of March, beginning of April. So who knows which way it'll go. It would be nice to see some snow before the winter's out. So now it's a high level walk over this surreal moonscape of heather and rock. Not that there's heather on the moon, but you know what I mean. It's a sort of strange place. But it's nice and short, so it's quite nice to walk on it. It's surprisingly boggy given how dry it's been. Actually getting my bearings a bit now. What confuses me is how far, it's the A9, you sort of think that that's north over there, but it isn't, because the A9 swings around and heads north that way. That's west out there, which means way on the horizon over there, that's Ben Nevis and the Annex, looking fairly snowy, but not nearly as snowy as they should be. Ooh, it's a nice tour. Presumably weathered by the wind, all this. Anyway. Would you believe me if I told you the wind was warm? This is spring. This is spring walking. It's insane. It's warm, the wind's warm. It's so calm. There's no snow. I mean, that's the really glaring thing, isn't it? There is no snow. This is the depths of winter. And there's nothing. This over here, of course, is Bray Riach over the other side. Loch Ennick is down in the fog. Bray Riach's on the other side, rearing up with its big corries. And they should be loaded with snow just now. The Larry Grew, famous pass that leads to Braemar, cuts through here. Again, those cliffs should be loaded with snow. Cairngorms over there. So all of this down here is a ski centre, and clearly there's no skiing being done. It's very, very peculiar. You can see the more observant of you have noticed I've got my ice axe with me. My crampons are in my bag. That's what they were saying. The avalanche information guys, their updates, they've said that there's quite firm snow because the inversion keeps sort of the cold air right at the surface as well. So the snow is hard where it's sort of refrozen. And because it all fell from Glen to summit at the same time, it's not like it's accumulated high up and then fallen down below. It all came at once. That's why you've got these big long streaks, these big runouts, these big lines of snow. So if you're at the top of those crossing one, it might only be 10 metres long. But if you slip, if you haven't got your crampons or your ice axe and you slip, you're going all the way down. Big runouts, and that's the danger, I suppose. That's why I do have my ice axe and crampons with me. I kind of knew from seeing photos online, social media, that there wasn't much snow up here, but I didn't think there'd be as little as this. I'm going to have to take my gaiters off, it's that warm. And it's not wet. It's stunning. It's stunning. Sgor Gaoith it's not this one here, it's the one behind that. But I need to go up here, and then the route down will be along this ridge. And then down there. What an amazing place. There's just no snow, it's crazy. I don't really want to go on. I could just stay here and then just go back down the way I came. But I will push on and finish a circuit. It'd be nice to get views across the plateau and also further out. Once you get up to the top there, you can see a lot further out. Oh, it's just so nice here. There's barely any wind at all. There's a slight breeze. Just sitting here watching this cloud, it goes in and fills that glen and then comes out again and goes back in and it comes out again. There's no sound. I can hear the A9 actually, to be fair, all the way down there. But there's just lots of grouse warbling behind me. I keep thinking it's people actually, because they make that funny little murmuring noise. I keep thinking it's people over there, but it isn't. It's just these grouse going about the business. Oh, it shouldn't be this warm. You do have to wonder what's happening to our climate. Not that you don't have years, in the last 100 years you'd have had weird winters like this. It happens, and then you get an average against which you judge all winters. So you get a long-term average. So it's to be expected, extremes. But it is odd. I mean, I was in the back where I stay in the Lowman Hills. I saw a skylark yesterday or the day before, and that's the first time. I mean, I'm up quite high, 900 feet. And usually they don't come back. They don't come back up the hill until February or even March. That's the first one I've ever seen in January. So yeah, you do wonder, because if they stay up there, they're going to get caught out if and when the cold weather finally does come. That's the worry, I suppose. That's sort of the unpredictability and the changeability of seasons now. They don't have one season that's typical anymore running into another one that's typical. Everything seems to be jumbled about and in a bit of a mess. So yeah, but then it gives us days like this. Not that that's reason to sort of rejoice. Right, well, may as well move on up that way. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, even though it's clearly baking hot in the sunshine, this is all still frozen. I mean, there's frost on here and the path. Yeah, it's cold and there's ice in there. So it's winter in the shadows. Spring or even summer in the sunshine. Getting nice views now down where Loch Ennick would be. You can see it's going all the way out to Mila Buckle, the other side of Loch Morlich over there. Loch Morlich's underneath there somewhere, Rothiemurchus Forest. Wow, what a day. Can't quite get over it. It's taken me forever to get up this hill because I keep stopping to faff and sit and take photos and just breathe it in. Can't get over how warm it is. And I haven't seen anybody. And I don't really expect to, at least not. I'm sure there will be at the summit. I'm sure there'll be quite a few people toing and froing from the summit proper. But this approach itself seems to be quite quiet. I'm sure there are tracks now. I'm up on this ridge, so I think people probably come up from Rothiemurchus. I don't know. I mean, maybe people come up as a way of accessing this hill, come up and join the ridge from over that direction. But I don't know how many people come up from over there. Clearly not very many. Anyway, this is really the only substantial piece of up left. Whew. Well, this isn't the top yet, still got a bit of a way to go. This is quite a memorable place for me. It's one of my favourite photos I've ever taken. The day when I came with my snowshoes. Got to imagine that it was, because it was so cold, the snow that fell was really powdery and sparkled, all the hoarfrost as well. And coming up with snowshoes, there was a base anyway, because it had been cold for such a long time. There was a good base of snow anyway, and then on top of that there's probably about another foot of this powdery stuff. So you sort of think that maybe that would be a nightmare coming up in snowshoes, but it was absolutely exquisite. The most memorable snowshoe excursion I've ever had. It was just superb. Nobody else had been up here, and it sparkled in your wake, clouds of powder sort of spinning out behind you. And then I got here, and it's a stupendous view. Much snowier than this, has to be said. Trying to figure out what angle I took it from. I think it was it up here somewhere, maybe? Maybe there? No, maybe it was, yeah, maybe it's more like that, I think. Up here. Yeah, maybe that. And this picture, just amazing conditions. Really nice photo that I'm really proud of. Well, there's a lot more up than I remember there being, but we're almost there. Holy moly. The view is frankly astonishing. Goodness gracious. Let me just find a more secure footing so I can actually pan around for you. Oh wow. Well, back the way we came, of course. Came up here, out of the mist, out of the fog here, along here, down there, like the back of here. So, it's Cairngorms over there. This is Bray Riach. It's massive corries. And then over there, going towards Cairntowel and the other end of the Lara Grue is hiding over there. This is the summit of Sgor Gaoith here, and then if we go all the way in here, let's see what we can see right on the horizon. I think That's... is that Benvironment maybe? Not sure. Anyway, that's Stobbinnen and Benmore, where I was for the last vlog. Looking quite striking. Panning all the way across now. You can see how the fog is lingering a long time down there in the central belt. Definitely all still in fog over there. Incredible view. Look at this. My word. I wasn't truly expecting anything quite like this today, I have to say. I was hoping I was going to get above the fog, but I think I usually forget just what an astonishing view it is from this neck of the woods. Wow. This hill we're on is called, it's got quite a good name actually, it's called Sgor Gaoith, which sounds a bit like Sgor and do more, Sgor and do more, let's go and do more. That you get to the top of it. I think, should we go and do Sgor Gaoith? No, I can't be bothered. Oh, come on, let's go and do more. Sorry. But it used to be, apparently it used to be a Munro. It's only about 7 metres in difference in height between here and there. It's 7 metres shorter, so presumably it's something to do with distance or how much it goes down in between the two hills that it's been relegated. Apparently. It's funny, isn't it, that just because somebody sort of measured it and made up some rules and suddenly declared, you shall not climb this hill, tens of thousands of people don't climb that hill anymore. It's bonkers. It's just so arbitrary. Oh well, but that's the insanity of Munro bagging that we all partake in, I suppose. Anyway, onwards. Well, there we go, top of Sgor Gaoith. I think it's 1,118 metres, so it's big, but as you can see it's really little more than a point, a notch on the plateau, but it does have these stonking drops down towards Loch Ennick. It's very imposing flanks of Bray Riach. Doesn't actually look as alpine as it did when I was here before. I mean, then there were massive cornices, there was no rock, well, very little rock to be seen, and that was just a sugary wonderland of snow. It's amazing. I went a little bit of a way over there, but I didn't really, it would have been nice to stride out on snowshoes and just walk forever. It actually felt like you could do it that day. It was Arctic wilderness type stuff. Really, really, really special. But this has been equally so. This has been, I didn't have cloud inversions like this. Wow. And now we're starting to get that light as we're getting down towards the evening. It's 20 past 2. So there's only a couple of hours left of daylight, maybe. 3 hours of light. So I think I'll sit up here a little bit, have some tea and cake with a view. And just take it all in before heading down. Then don't have to come to that unpleasant moment where you have to go back into all the murk, which is always a shame, but it's inevitable at the end of the day, unless you're camping up, of course. Right. Cheers. Well, I've had some pretty spectacular lunch spots in my time. This takes some beating. Oh, how about that? Just bonkers. Okay, well, sat up here for about 25 minutes or so. There's not a whole lot more I can say or show you that's going to top this. So I'm going to leave it at that, I think. Take one final look at the evening colours and light that's starting to take hold down there. It's quite something. Done well to get this summit to myself. I think it's the first time that's ever happened, actually. There's usually quite a few people buzzing around. when I appeared up over there, that's Sgor Gaoith over there, there were 2 folk heading down the way, there were 2 folk sat at the top, and then there were 2 more people coming up who've since gone over that way. So it was nice, solitude. Very nice. Right, heading all the way down. Down here, that's the way down along this little ridge, onto there, and then down, back into the fog, sadly. Okay. Don't want to leave, don't want to go down. What a superb walk. Okay.